The following is a production of the 2- and 4-year communication programs offered at SUNY Cobleskill. It's another edition of the Things Happening on Campus That You Didn't Know About, But Probably Should podcast. I'm your host, Chris Parlato. Hang out with us for a little bit. Hi, and welcome back to our third edition of Things Happening on Campus That You Probably Didn't Know About, But Probably Should. I'm Chris Parlato, and I'm glad to introduce my guest, Mary Irving from the Food Pantry, also Associate Athletic Director. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's get right into it. So how did the emergency food pantry come to be? Like, how did that start? Is that something that's fairly new? Because speaking of things on campus, that's something that I'm not too familiar with myself.
Sure. Well, the pantry itself, we had a soft opening in the middle of April. And then we kind of were full bore this fall. So the beginning of the fall semester, we had our refrigeration on site and so forth and so on. As far as how did it come to be, I had gone to a conference years ago, and some of the smaller schools, some of the community colleges had pantries on their campuses, and I brought the idea back. We had a food insecurity task force on campus, and while we didn't have a pantry at that point in time, we did come up with resources for students that could apply for help to get some meals on campus and some referrals outside to the food pantries in town. And then there was a SUNY mandate more recently that said you had to have a pantry on your campus. And they followed it up with some funding. So we put together a pantry. We probably started last February, and we were able to open by April. We had to secure a space, secure shelving, and so forth and so on, so that we could be open by April. So yes, it is relatively new, and we're still getting the word out there that there's one on campus.
Yeah, that's great. I know I haven't been too familiar with it myself. I know I actually just heard about it, and you mentioned that like food insecurity. I know I've seen some things about that, like around campus. Does that all have to do with the emergency food pantry on campus?
Yeah, it's really just more of, alerting, folks that there are people on campus who are food insecure, a lot more than you would think. And so we're trying to come up with different resources for them to use. So the emergency pantry is only one of them. The folks can fill out a form, and we can work with them on other resources that might be available. We have someone that comes in from Catholic Charities once a month that helps them with their SNAP benefit paperwork. So if they're eligible for SNAP benefits, they can apply for that too. So it's the emergency pantry is just kind of one piece to part of our addressing food insecurity on campus.
That's great. And you mentioned Catholic Charities. I know I've seen them. They're like right in town, right? They have like a location.
Yep.
So that's great that you get involved with like other organizations and stuff that get involved. So is this something that who does this benefit? Is this for students that don't have access to food? And even with the thing with food insecurity, I'm not too familiar with.
Sure.
I've seen that before, but I wasn't sure exactly what that meant. Is that students who don't have access to food?
Food insecurity is that you are missing several meals per week, that you just don't have the resources to eat good, nutritious food on a regular basis. The pantry is open to any current student, faculty, or staff member. So no, it's not just for students. Faculty and staff can use the food pantry if they need it. All you have to do is bring your current college ID with you, and then there's a sign-in process. Everything is anonymous, but for data, we have to keep data on how many users. We do have a QR code for them to log into, and then I have workers there that will log in the items that they took, and mainly that's just for inventory reasons, just to know how much is coming in, how much is going out.
So that's what's like your primary Is it mostly students that come in? Are there a lot of students that know about this that come in? Is there a lot of staff members that use this?
Currently, it's been mostly students that use it. We have some people that come in on a regular basis. You're allowed to come into the pantry once a week and take 10 items. There are a couple situations where someone might have a greater need, and that's something we have to look further into. But yeah, I mean, the word's getting out. The word's getting out that the pantry's there, and we're getting more and more users.
That's great. I know there, like you mentioned, there probably is a lot more students that don't have access to food or aren't able to get food than more than people are aware of. So is that one of the reasons why there is an emergency food pantry on campus? Because with the meal plans, I know there's the dining meal plans and other ways to get food. Why do we need the emergency pantry? Is it for students who are financially aren't doing well, who may need that for that reason?
Well, not every student on campus has a meal plan. So if they're living on campus, they have a meal plan, but they also may have a reduced meal plan because maybe they don't have the funds to purchase, 17 meals per week. So they might need, some help from the pantry. We have a lot of students that are also commuter students. So either they live locally and they're traveling from home, or they moved here from wherever they were, and they're living off campus, and they find that they just don't have the resources to buy the food that they need. So one of the things that I learned in that conference years ago is that if a student is food insecure in high school, they're probably going to be food insecure in college. It's not going to change. So I'm sure that that's probably part of the reason why we have some people that are coming in, because they've been food secure for a while.
That's great. And and you mentioned this was a SUNY mandate that there was so all SUNY. So this isn't something that's unique to SUNY Cobleskill. There, and that was something that was recent, is they just had that mandate that. What made you interested in you were one of the you let me know if this is the correct word, but the founders or the people who, one of the first people to start this and get involved with starting it here on our campus.
Yep. So there's been a food insecurity task force on campus for a while now, and I was part of that. And then when the mandate came out, with some help from others, we secured a space, took the funding, got the shelves, got the food, got it going. So there's been other people helping me, but for the most part, I've kind of led the charge.
So as far as the people who are helping you, is that the other people involved, is it mostly just volunteers or staff on campus? Is there other students who help out?
Well, we have another co-chair on the task force. Her name is Leanne Pratt. So she helps me a lot of times with the administrative piece of it, doing flyers and posters and things like that. She's just much better at that than I am. I also have a whole student staff that come in and they cover the hours that the pantry is open. So there are members of the task force that kind of get the word out. So that, it's kind of a village.
That's great. Yeah. And it, I actually haven't been, like I mentioned before, I haven't really been too familiar with this until recently, but where are you located? Where's the emergency food pantry on campus?
So we are downstairs in Bauck Hall. So if you can find the vending machines in Bauck Hall, we're literally kitty corner from that. So the old bowling alley where the recreation office is, and then we're right next door to that.
Okay, yeah, I am familiar with that area. When you mentioned that, I didn't know that that there was a location there for the emergency food pantry. I think, at least speaking for myself, that it makes sense why it's something that I haven't heard about until recently, even though it is fairly new. I think it's great to hopefully have more students and staff and just people be more aware of things going on at campus, and hopefully more people getting involved with things like this. And it's great that I know you're very involved with this, especially being one of the people who started it. So I think that wraps up this episode of Things Happening on Campus You Didn't Know About But Probably Should. I'm your host, Chris Parlato. I'd like to thank Mary Irving for joining us. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.